What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and some shocking new news coming out of Disney. A new report that 45% of families who are taking their kids there are being forced to take on debt to do so. Now, I want to first start, before I cover the in-depth story and talk about the inflation at Disney, which is insane when we see the numbers. I think that those parents are making poor decisions. Okay. Nobody's forcing you to take your kids to Disney. I don't want to let them off the hook for making bad financial decisions. Okay. However, I understand parents want to do right for their kids. Kids grow up, they consume all this marketing. They know they want to go to Disneyland. Their friends go to Disneyland. The parents want to do right by their kids. So I'm not like coming down on them too hard, but the concession prices and the inflation inside the park are so insane over the past 12 months. It's going to be hard to believe that they're just not, taking it out on parents, bleeding them dry, essentially. We're going to get into all that after a super quick word from this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Shout out to this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Look, it's 2024. If you aren't using a VPN yet, you're completely missing out, and Private Internet Access is the one I use on all of my devices. If you've been following the news, you see that censorship, websites, apps are getting shut down in certain countries, all sorts of craziness. Well, a VPN helps you never have to worry about that. Private Internet Access also protects you from the prying eyes of hackers, internet service providers, and others that can view your personal data. Perhaps also just as importantly, Private Internet Access allows you to access region-restricted content from all over the world. Streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and more have different library options based on where you're located, and some shows simply cannot be accessed if you're not in the target location. Happens to me all the time. Many sports events also have regional blackouts. Well, VPNs can be a convenient way to make sure you're getting the content that you're paying for. Private Internet Access also allows you to protect an unlimited amount of devices all at the same time, so your entire household with a single subscription. And I've been working with Private Internet Access so long that I have an absolutely massive discount available to my viewers. Link in the description below. Get Private Internet Access today using my link. Save huge, protect your computers, access all the content that you've been paying for, and ensure that your internet is never censored. Let's start with this article that came out on Friday. A shocking number of parents take on hefty debt for Disney trips with kids, according to a new survey. A new survey found that 45% of parents with kids are being put into debt by their recent trips to Disney. The average amount landing them in the red, nearly $2,000. They're carrying $2,000 in debt just to take their kids to Disneyland. Now, again, I will point out, parents, please stop doing this. Disney doesn't deserve your money. They want to indoctrinate your kids anyway. Plus, there are cheaper, more affordable theme parks out there locally, probably, that you could take them to, or find other ways to do it, The eye-popping numbers from LendingTree also found that 41% of parents with children regret the financial damage from their vacation to one of Disney's destinations. So there you go. Parents, if you're considering going into debt, 41% of the people who do so to take their kids to Disney end up regretting it anyway. So this is just a huge, huge win for anyone who hasn't yet gone there. People are saying it's just not worth the money. And I'll show you the numbers on just how badly they're taking advantage of parents. For so many parents, taking their kids to Disney is a rite of passage, something they remember fondly from their youth and want to experience with their kids, said LendingTree chief credit analyst. Because of those feelings, they're often willing to take on debt to get there. Just 2 years ago, the site found that 18% of all parkgoers were put into debt, but only 30% of families were. That figure has since increased by 50% as the House of the Mouse continues to be panned for its unrealistic costs. In total, about a quarter of all parkgoers are strapped with Disney debt now. However, parents are starting to admit that the magic is gone. Many families are taking their business to more cost-efficient destinations, such as Great Wolf Resorts, for more practical getaway. We have a Great Wolf Lodge, I think, in Wisconsin Dells that my family goes to, my niece goes to. Families make up to 77% of Disney's population per LendingTree, And most complain about the cost of how much the cost of food and drinks set them back, despite anticipating prices already being high. A whopping 65% complained that the in-park food was substantially higher than budgeted, as many were shocked to see Disney World restaurants promoting options priced above $60 per adult. In the past 10 years alone, food prices have shot up 61%, according to a recent report. You know, when I went to the theme park with my family, my parents, we would always go to Great America for Father's Day. And when I would go, or when we would go, it was always, we'd leave the park and go eat lunch in our car. So we'd pack sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, soda, chips, Fritos, whatever. And around noon, 1 o'clock, we'd leave the park and go eat at the car, because even then my parents were like, well, we're not paying $70 for chicken tenders and burgers for the kids at the park. I can't even imagine what it costs nowadays. Quote, one of the best ways to cut costs is to bring your own food and beverages to the park. But then you have to leave. That's the thing. Like, oh, I can only go on an average of 7 or 8 rides when I'm there for 8 hours. So if I'm leaving to go eat, that means I can only go to 6, you know? There are limits to what you can bring, but packing small snacks and refillable water bottles, for example, can make a real difference in the overall cost of your Disney experience. Behind that cost of transit, lodging, and park admissions, the bottom line is that Disney trips can no longer be fairy tales, which impact future business. Of the 25% Americans who have been to theme parks other than Disney, 60% of them say they've been avoiding them due to cost. I mean, like, I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised at all by that. And if you look at this report here, which came out yesterday, Walt Disney food prices have significantly outpaced inflation. If you're visiting Walt Disney World with your family, you might want to eat first. This is, again, when my family went to Disney, that's what we would do. We would like have one meal at the park maybe, and then we'd go out to like a buffet for dinner. Ponderosa or Old Country Buffet or something like that. A new report from Finance, I've only been to Disney twice, but I remember that's what we did both times. A new report from Finance Buzz shows prices at concessions at Disney World in Orlando, Florida have increased an average of 61% over the past 10 years, more than the average increase of a single park ticket, which has increased 56% over that. So the price tickets are up 56%, the food's up 61%. Are you making that much more money? Are you receiving that much more magic from Disney? You can't even ride Splash Mountain anymore. The actual rate of inflation for the past 10 years was pegged at 32% of the report, according to the report. Rising high are such fan favorites as the Dole Whip dessert, which has gone up 58%, and the Mickey Mouse shaped ice cream bar, which has increased 63%. The highest single item increased is the bread service at Animal Kingdom Restaurant in Sanaa. That has climbed from $9.99 to $22 for bread. The prices for every single item have raised by at least $1.50, with most going up at least $2 since 2014, Finance Buzz wrote in a study. But while food costs have skyrocketed, the base price for the most affordable Disney World tickets have remained remarkably stable, going up just $19 from 2014 to 2024. Well, they're sticking it to you once you're in the park. That's the reality of that, right? The researchers obtained the data by taking current food data. So if we look at the actual report, the Finance Buzz report, you can see how prices have changed in iconic findings. So here are the key findings. So here's some charts too. The prices for food favorites of Walt Disney have inflated 61% on average over the past 10 years. The cost of food at Disney World has inflated more than the cost of a single park ticket. Walt Disney World food prices have significantly outpaced the rate of actual inflation, which is 32%, by the way, which is insanity. So you see from 2014, here's the price increases. Now, things do get more expensive over time. I'm not one of those old timers that's like, I remember when gasoline was only $2 a gallon and I could fill up my 1996 Ford Tempo, get a pack of cigarettes and a Red Bull for $20. That is an actual thing I've said before. But anyway, most egregious among Disney food inflation is the bread service at a restaurant. Sanaa bread services beloved meal for many at Disney fans, but has a bigger price increase than any other item we looked at. 120%. Corn dogs are up 116%. Corn dogs are up 116%. Park ticket high end up 91%. So what they're saying is the cheap tickets, right, to get in have remained relatively stable, up 21%. But the tickets that everybody actually needs to get, you know, the ones with the line jumping or all this stuff that people actually need to buy, are up 100%. An ice cream bar is up 63%. The Dole Whip is up 58%. Fish and chips is up 50%. A pretzel's up 42%. Everything. Look at the markups. Corn dog nuggets were $4.99 in 2014. They are now $10.79. $10.79 for corn dogs? I'm sorry, are hot dogs a luxury item now too? I thought they were made out of lips and beeholes. And the idea of like, oh, here's some tips how to save money. Bro, how about just don't go? The ice cream bar, a Mickey Mouse ice cream bar is up $6.50 for a piece of ice cream? That's insane. If you have 2 kids, that's $15 to get them both a piece of ice cream. I know nobody's forcing anyone to go, but I'm also keenly aware of like the reality, you know, that parents want to take their kids to Disney. Mostly as much for them as parents as it is for the kids. They want to create those memories. I still have memories, some, of Disney, going to Disney when I was a kid. Most of it was staying at a house that had an in-ground pool that my parents rented. And instead of, you know, again, we did that to save money. My two families went, like we went with another family, and we all rented like an Airbnb, a condo that had a pool in the backyard. We got more mileage out of that pool in the backyard than we did going to the theme parks. I think I also remember going to Hooters for the very first time with my uncle. I think those are my only 2 Disney memories. I'm sure my mom will be proud. But anyway, yeah, the prices are getting insane. People just have to stop going. Because if you stop going, then the prices will come down. That's the only way you can handle this. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.